Thank you very much, Rampuche. We are blessed. What a wonderful talk we've had.
讲得特别好。
I mean, I'm overwhelmed by happiness, I guess, because I know how to get it now. So let us give him a hand of applause again, please. It is now time for comments and questions.
Thank you very much, Khenpo. Yes, I enjoyed the talk very much. But what is your advice? Because from what you are saying, a major problem is the idea that people get angry, isn't it? And now, how does one overcome anger so that they can have happiness? And in my thinking, this anger comes along with, the mind that, reflects on reality and says, okay, so-and-so is rich and he's telling me to be happy when I'm poor. Why should I be happy when he is rich and happy?
To be honest, when I really think about it, I feel that holding on to all this anger toward them is likely a completely useless and unproductive effort that won't actually help anything in the end. As a matter of fact, as I previously pointed out to you, numerous different aspects of humanity may be fundamentally shaped by education, as well as a wide range of other influential factors. It could also be attributed to the actions of governments in certain countries, often stemming from issues like systemic corruption. Furthermore, we have been influenced by unhealthy views regarding wealth and success that originate from both Eastern and Western cultural perspectives. Because of these factors, there is now a growing sense of resentment among the public concerning the unequal distribution of wealth. We must realize that this kind of lingering resentment or any form of negative anger that builds up can be very destructive. The specific outcome that this process eventually produces is not very ideal or effective in the long run. We should carefully approach this situation with a much more rational and logical way of thinking, and solving the problem through this particular approach might ultimately be the best way to move forward. Although some of us may be facing significant financial difficulties at this moment, and the opportunities for us to do things in many different aspects of our daily lives might be extremely limited and strictly confined, some people lack the necessary skills or certain professional qualities, yet they have a vast amount of resources and valuable assets. This is not just an issue for a single nation or a specific geographic region. This is now a truly worldwide challenge that affects us all. And in the future, this trend is likely to keep growing. But at this time, if we use our collective rational wisdom, that might be the first aspect. As for the second aspect, every single one of us should also take the time to learn something for ourselves, which could also be a deeply meaningful kind of compassion. For example, I am not what anyone would call a particularly wealthy or well-off person, but when I see people who are even poorer than I am, I've realized that some of my own behaviors are actually quite excessive. For instance, some time ago when I went to Malawi, I was drinking a bottle of soda there. After I had finished drinking it, there was just a tiny bit of liquid left inside the bottle, but then a lot of children started fighting over it. Later on, one of the stronger kids, he successfully reached out and grabbed the bottom half of the bottle. He finally got it. But all the physically weaker children really resented him, but they simply did not have enough physical strength to resist. So, in any phenomenon that we regularly observe in our society, the things and resources that we happen to possess first may be compared to people in our own country or compared to people in other places or with different backgrounds. We might also have many shortcomings. So it often happens that sometimes when we compare ourselves in many different ways, it might actually be a good thing.
Thank you very much, Professor. You've talked a lot about contentment, that we should be content and happy. What do you do with the greed that still goes on, the imbalance in our society, in our world, the abuse that continues, the injustice that continues to tear our community apart? should we continue sleeping on the floor and be content, like you have said, instead of rising to address these issues? Thank you.
That's a very interesting question. The question you raised is quite insightful. Actually, as I just mentioned, I've been to a wide variety of places, but in every place, from the national level down to ordinary poor communities, there are many feelings of dissatisfaction between people. This may be something that exists wherever human beings live, bringing complexity, conflicts, and various feelings of discontent that have always existed in our world. Of course, if there is an extremely serious greed or corruption present in the system, at a certain inevitable point in time, things may eventually spill over. This is a fundamental and universal natural law, no matter where it happens to occur. But when that time comes, do we just sit back and wait passively and obediently, or do we try to actively fight for a better outcome in some way? Taking that path may require a great deal of courage and wisdom. Indeed, a kind of wisdom is needed. If you realize that your abilities are greater than the other side's, you can choose to resist or stand up. But when you cannot resist, you need to understand the situation and respond with another kind of wisdom wisely. After all, if the other side is exceptionally and overwhelmingly powerful, you can only admit your own defeat. There is a well-known saying within the teachings of Buddhism, do you happen to know what it is? When you are completely under someone else's control, you simply have to listen to what they have to say and follow their lead. This is the best way out. If your abilities surpass the other side, then you can do whatever you want. Besides this, we may see some unfair things in society from time to time and in many situations. But this is not only happening now. Throughout human history, many unfair things have occurred repeatedly in different places and across many generations around the world. Even today, it is still the same. It seems I haven't given you a particularly satisfying answer. I'm not very satisfied with my own answer either. But what I want to say is, you should judge based on your own abilities and wisdom. Also, although there are many different things in this world that we may still find it difficult to accept, in Buddhism, there is a saying that freedom brings happiness, while being controlled brings suffering. So, even though many things are not very optimistic now, I still feel that I am free in this world. Whether it is having my own language or way of life, having my own space is also a very joyful thing for me. And this freedom itself brings me a sense of peace and happiness.
Good evening. You talked about 3 poisons: the greed, the ignorance, and anger. But I noticed a lot of people were asking about possessions. But where I work with people that want to expose or advocate for gays and lesbians. So what does your religion teach about that? Because a lot of people are ignorant concerning sexual orientation.
And Buddhism does not explicitly reject or support homosexuality. However, it is often regarded as a specific attachment and desire. There are clear references in Buddhist scriptures describing how some people become deeply attached to younger individuals of their own gender. Some are drawn to people who are older than themselves. Others find they are attached to those who are much younger than themselves. Some are naturally attracted to those of the same age, such as other young people. This represents one perspective found in the teachings of Buddhism. There is also another perspective in Buddhism that suggests some people are deeply attached to those of the same gender. Earlier we talked about the opposite gender. Some are attached to the same gender. Some people even form deep attachments to animals, eventually developing intense desires for them and similar things. This phenomenon is not new. In fact, more than 2,560 years ago, within Buddhism, there was already a clear record of these matters found in the Buddhist scriptures. Generally speaking, when we look at homosexuality, in recent years, many countries have strongly rejected it, and some have even imposed the death penalty in their laws. This has also happened throughout human history. On the other hand, some countries strongly support it. it seems that now 26 countries have made it legal and accepted it in society as a normal part of life today. In the past, it was illegal in Australia, while neighbouring New Zealand had legalised it. But now, Australia has also legalised it, so it seems that more and more countries are gradually legalising it as well. Therefore, among us humans, it's certainly possible that all kinds of things happen that go far beyond our usual traditions and our imagination. Many such things occur. Buddhism has maintained clear and explicit statements about this in its scriptures. So, as I have just mentioned to you, we neither reject nor praise it. It should be regarded as equal to other forms of desire. Let me add something further. The Buddhist scriptures say, some people are attracted to young people, while others are attracted to the elderly. This brings to my mind the story of a prominent Chinese scientist and physicist, Yang Zhenning, from a few years ago. At the age of 82, he entered into marriage with a 28-year-old woman. When we look at his life today, it appears that he is already well over 90 years of age and still going strong. She was 28 years old, he was 82, and now he seems to be over 90, isn't he? So that is pretty much about it. This is just one example. I often find myself thinking about this, because some people are attracted to those younger than themselves, while others are attracted to older people. This includes the family members of the President of the United States, Donald Trump, as well as those of the President of France, Emmanuel Macron. When it comes to the age relationships within their families, there are these different variations. Speaking for myself, when I went to the United States in 1993, there was a man who said, "This is my boyfriend." He brought his boyfriend with him. At that time, I had just arrived in the West and really couldn't accept it. At first, I was surprised by it, but later, because I had more contact with them, I gradually became used to it. Now they are not just boyfriends. When their same-sex family members come with them, we can all accept them and treat them with respect, kindness, and understanding as well. This might be a matter of personal mindset.
I believe our time is up. We're already 10 minutes over. And can we give a round of applause to the Rinpoche one last time? Thank you very much, sir. We've really learnt a lot today, but at the end of it all, I think what I've understood myself is that contentment is important. We have all these issues. For instance, Botswana is known internationally to be a very peaceful country. It is also known to be, or said to be, one of the best in Africa. And yet, another study done internationally says that Botswana are the most depressed. It's surprising. It's all because even though we have all these riches, like the Rinpoche has said, there's so much inequality in the sharing of these diamonds, so to speak. So, but at the end of the day, I believe that Botswana, because I don't know what kind of people we are, but we don't seem to have the tools. We don't seem to have the energy to fight, the energy to do anything. And the Rinpoche's advice, as I've understood it myself, is that we should just be content because we can't do anything. But if we can, by all means, let's do something to change the status quo. Because when I went to Malawi, and he mentioned Malawi, I realized that poverty, you can see, you can smell it. It's all over. But the people, I was amazed at how people are so peaceful. They are not dodgy people. They don't want, they are not interested in your cell phone. They are not interested in anything to steal from you. They would rather ask. But here where we have diamonds and are rich and, are, known by the world to be doing very well, you step out, even in your house, you don't feel safe. Because people are greedy, people just want to grab whatever is there, because there's a lot of materialism and competition that comes with it, and there's so much trouble. So I believe in the absence of any quick fix to the problem of inequality, it is upon us as individuals to take it to heart, to be content and to be happy with the little that we have. Thank you very much.